Welcome to the lab. Today, in phase 1, I'm doing rereads. What, am I in frame? I'm doing rereads. And I would like to create a very easy chart for my character because I have a very bad feeling, and I was right. The very beginning part of my story, I know what's important to my character in terms of needs and wants, but I'm not super clear. I mean, you can kind of guess some of it, but I don't want you to need to play Sherlock. It should be really obvious, and I don't need to tell the audience. I am still going to show it by... Anyway, we'll get into it. But I need to make sure I know all of the characters' wants and needs so I can slip it into the story pretty effortlessly. And at first, I tried to just kind of draw a circle thing on this small piece of paper. Yeah, that's not going to work. Too small. So I'm going to break open this craft paper because it's big. It's actually one of the biggest sheets of paper I have that's not poster board. So, there we go. I have no tolerance for trying to put up a C-arm or anything like that, so I'm just going to show you guys old school. It may or may not be easy to read. We'll see. So I'm just going to... Maybe this way. I'm just going to draw a circle, which will look like an oval. Nailed it. I'm going to split in half. And now we've got our wants and needs. I'm also going to create another one that's horizontal like that. And that one is going to be conscious and unconscious. So the top stuff is something the character is aware of. They're doing to an extent. They may not be fully aware of their need unless you were to like directly ask them. The unconscious is things that they may not be realizing they're doing. By the way, just to be very clear here, you don't have to need this. You don't have to do this. I'm sorry, right off the bat, if you came into the labs and you think that I am like a wealth of knowledge, or that I know what I'm doing, or that myself or anyone really has the authority to tell you that this is the only way you should write or do characters, no. If you don't use this stuff, if you don't need this stuff, you don't have to start using it. If you feel like your character has gaps, if you feel like your character doesn't feel quite right, something like this could help you maybe, but just like any job that requires a tool, like fixing like plumbing or something, there are tons of tools out there, and some tools are better than others, and some tools will work better for you than they will for others. Everyone's a little bit different. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and you don't have to use one particular thing to be valid as a writer. I want to say that because lately on the videos I've seen on just the writing community in general, I've been seeing a lot of younger writers in the comments honestly distressed because they feel like they're doing writing wrong. There is no one way to write. And all of these videos that say, these are the top 5 things you never do, for every rule, there is a way to break it. The reason there are a lot of rules and tips is because breaking the rules requires understanding what the rule does. So, for example, the rule, don't ever end your chapters with your characters going to sleep. The reason for that, I'll give you the nuance. The tips and tricks are useless because they're without the nuance. I'm going to give you the nuance. The nuance for that is because it's something everyone does, and if you end a chapter on and they went to sleep, there's no incentive for the reader to go to the next page. So if I was reading a book and I get to the end of a chapter and it said, and they go to sleep, and I see the next page is chapter 5, chapter 10, whatever, that cues my brain. I come out of the story, I recognize where I am, and I'm more tempted to close the book. And anytime someone is tempted to close the book, there is a chance they won't open it again. When you have an ender, like a chapter ender, it should have a mini cliffhanger. Just like a series, a book in a series will have a cliffhanger at the end. You also want cliffhangers within your chapters. They're just micro versions. At least that's how I was taught, and that's why. But here's where we get into the fun rule breaking part. If the character going unconscious or falling asleep is dangerous, there's your cliffhanger. The falling asleep is the cliffhanger. So long as the falling asleep is a cliffhanger, you're good and you can break that rule. The problem is a lot of people on this app I've noticed don't give the nuance. So then you poor newer writers feel like everything you do is stepping on a landmine. No, if you don't need this, it's okay. You don't have to need this. Some people like me work better with visualization of our ideas on paper, and some of you guys work best digital, and some of you guys don't need it at all because it's all up here in your head. I'm not going to be the mean teacher that asks you to show your work. I don't care. If you need this like I do, awesome. If you don't, awesome. Whatever tool you need to get you through your project, that's the correct tool. I prefer to keep things simple and advance as necessary as I find I need to add things. Like originally this was just a circle with just the half. That's what I described as doing originally. And then when I actually started writing this, I realized that I needed that extra line because I know some of our wants and needs are subconscious. It's not something we're fully aware of. So I added that. But I don't think I'll need it as much as the top half. But I'm making this up as I go. So we've got our wants up here for my main character, Alex. And, okay, so a want is to complete rescue mission. Anyway, this looks ugly, but it'll be useful. Okay, and that is directly connected with a need for money to pay Dad's medical bills. Now, I can tell you, in this reread, and this was my fear, and I was right, because I had a feeling I'd forgotten to do this. I did not showcase how much my main character needs the money for those bills. I didn't show that. I didn't even say anything about it. I just assumed people could figure it out because their father was in the hospital with a chronic illness. And most people who have family or friends who have chronic illnesses know it's very expensive, but like, that's a jump, especially because this is a fantasy world. You don't know for sure that this would be expensive. It could be like paid by the society. I don't know. But I need to make it very clear that money is a huge motivator. So that's one of the things I need to be more careful about. Alex needs to get full certification for trade routes. And this is just an element of Alex's job, but the need, the whole reason that they want that is because once again they need money, so it just feeds back into the money. So money is a massive need. Like most of Alex's wants pull back to the needs. Now unconsciously, Alex wants to be a hero. Alex used to be part of military for a short period of time until their father's illness pulled them out. They have this need to be recognized as such. It's subconscious. I don't think it's something Alex is aware of. Their need is to be seen and heard. Oftentimes when we feel like we want to be something, it's fulfilling a subconscious need. So for Alex, that is to be seen and heard. Also, loved and protected. And the want would be family. The need is love and protect. Originally, Alex's definition of family is simply their father. And it needs to expand to stepmom because we're expanding that relationship. So it looks like this. It's really hideous, but I already have a lot better of an idea. I can already tell, I'm only a little bit into the reread, and I can already tell where some of this stuff needs to be hinted at or showcased a little bit better. Sure, I'm going to add to this, but so far, this is a good start. I already feel a little bit better. That money thing, I really need to establish that better in the beginning. This video was really sped through fast. I feel like I'm going really fast through this, but I also feel like some people overcomplicate character, and I think this looks maybe a little complicated, but it's really, really simple. What do you want? What do you need? And knowing what your characters want and need is one of the more basic things. When it comes to like hair color, eye color, that stuff is more details that can be done later on. The big stuff is what your characters want and need, because you need to make sure your characters aren't wandering aimlessly, or if they are aimless, it's because they need to reconnect with their purpose. And you as the writer aren't aimless. That's the thing. The character might need to wander if they've lost sight of everything, but you as an author should not be losing sight of what you're doing. Anyway, do you guys do stuff like this? It's totally okay if you don't need to, but if you do, let me know in the comments below what you like to do. Do you like to have full D&D style sheets, or do you prefer doing something really simple? Do you prefer just making lists, or do you do something more visual like I do? I'm kind of curious. Of course, I'm going to be doing this for a couple other of the major characters, as well as I'm going to be just sketching out some stuff about the world, like how it works. But this was something that I wanted to do a video on because I feel like it doesn't have to be complicated, first off. And secondly, I really did want to get on here and let you guys know that you don't have to do this. Does that make sense? Like, you're a real writer if you don't have to do this, especially you younger writers. I feel like you guys, you hear a lot of these, like, 5 things to never do. Don't do this or your character is a jerk. And I feel like those videos are, quite frankly, harmful because there is nuance to everything. For every rule, there is nuance to that rule, and there are exceptions. And you have to understand the nuance so that exception is something you can consider. Because, yeah, if I were to end a lot of my chapters with, and then they fell asleep, that would be a horrible end to a chapter. But if I end it as if they fall asleep, it could be catastrophic and could drop my main character back between worlds, which is where they do not want to be. That then creates tension. You want to go to the next chapter. If you understand why the rule exists, you can understand how to break it. And I think that lack of nuance is one of the major problems I see on this platform. And I just want to address that real quick and just let you guys know that these are just tools. Everything I talk about on my channel is a tool, and you don't have to use any of it if you don't want to. But it can make things easier, but it depends on what job you're doing. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys are doing well on your rereads. Thank you for coming to the labs, and I hope your time with us has been productive.